Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to start Unit 5 of Class 7, that is water. Now, look at this image. This shows how the water cycle works. Okay, so first let's think how our rivers actually formed. Okay, in the early days of Earth, there were only volcanic eruptions everywhere. During these eruptions, a huge amount of ash and water vapor was released into the atmosphere. As the Earth slowly cooled down, this water vapor condensed and heavy rains started not just for a few days but for millions and millions of years. These rains started filling the low-lying depressions formed by volcanic activities on the Earth's surface. And over a time, these filled depressions become our first ocean. Later, the heat from the sun caused some this water to evaporate, turning into water vapor again. This water vapor rose up, cooled, and condensed to form clouds. When the clouds become heavy, precipitation happened, meaning rainfall again. So this contains the process of evaporation, condensation, precipitation is what we call the water cycle, the never-ending journey of water on Earth. And now let's move on to our next topic, that is distribution of water bodies. And this is a very important topic because questions from this part are frequently asked in UPSC prelims. Now, UPSC usually asks tricky questions here. For example, they might give you questions like, which of the following contains the largest amount of water on the earth? Or they might confuse you by saying groundwater has more volume than ice caps or freshwater lakes have more than groundwater. So don't get confused. You just have to remember the correct order. That is, first comes ocean. They hold about 97% of all water on earth. Next comes ice caps and glaciers. After that comes groundwater. Next, freshwater lakes. After that, inland seas and salt lakes. And after that comes water present in the atmosphere, and finally rivers. Okay, as rivers come last. Many students think that rivers should have more water because we see them everywhere, but actually the total volume of water in rivers is the least compared to all other sources. So keep this sequence very clearly in your mind. First is oceans, then ice caps, then groundwater, then freshwater lakes, then inland seas and salt lakes, and then of atmosphere, finally rivers. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, that is ocean circulation. In that, the first one is waves. The waves are just the up and down movements of water we see in the sea. They are formed when the wind blows over the surface of water. The stronger the wind, the bigger the waves. Okay. Now let's understand one of the major ocean movements, that is tsunami. A tsunami is a huge tidal wave, but remember, it is not caused by the normal tides. It happens when an earthquake, volcanic eruption, or landslides occurs under a sea. This sudden movement displaces a large volume of water, creating powerful waves that travel across the ocean at very high speeds. When these waves reach shallow coastal areas, their height increases massively, and that's what we call a tsunami. Now, let's talk about tides, which are different. Tides mean the rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water, and this happens twice every day. Tides are mainly caused by gravitational pull of the moon and the sun on the earth's surface. The part of the earth that is closer to the moon gets pulled strongly, and that's why we experience high tide here. During full moon and the new moon days, the sun, moon, and the earth are in a straight line. Their combined gravitational pull makes the tides higher than usual. These called spring tides. And remember, the name has nothing to do with the spring season, okay? But during the first quarter and the last quarter of the moon, the sun and the moon are at right angles to the earth. So their gravitational pulls act in different directions, partially cancelling each other out. This results in lower tides, which we call neap tides. In short, full moon and new moon means spring tides, that is highest, and the first and the last quarter, that is neap tides, that is the lowest. Now let's talk about ocean currents. See, just like winds move in the air, water also moves in the oceans, and this movement is called ocean currents. Generally, warm ocean currents start near the equator and move towards the poles, and cold ocean currents start near the poles and move towards the equator. Okay. If you look at this image, you can see some arrows. The red ones are the warm currents and the blue ones are cold currents. These currents keep moving in a circular path, and together they form a big system called ocean circulation. Now, you might wonder, if warm water and cold water are moving in the same ocean, why don't they mix or collide? That's because temperature and density of both waters are different. Warm water is lighter and cold water is heavier. So they move in different layers and follow their own path without much mixing. This movement helps to balance the temperature of our planet. That is, warm currents carry heat to colder regions and cold currents bring coolness towards warmer region. This is just a brief idea about ocean circulation. and it's a very big and interesting topic. So I will make a separate detailed lecture on this soon. So that's it for Unit 5 of Class 7, that is water. And I will upload the next unit in the coming days. Till then, take care and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.